Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion in global GDP, and 10 million jobs. We have been here week after week for a very long time, working with you, working with entrepreneurs from all over the world. This is our 284th free public roundtable. The event is being recorded. You will find recordings of all prior sessions on our YouTube channel. If you're following us on Twitter or if you're live tweeting the show today, actually first, you should use the hashtag 1M1M. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at 1M by 1M and at Stromana. And we publish a lot of rich content, very informative, kind of things that you have to pay attention to. It's not foo-foo content. It's, stuff that you need to think about kind of content. So if that's your style, if that's the kind of content that you like to engage with, please follow us on Twitter. And YouTube, we are at 1M1M Roundtables. You'll find recordings of every single roundtable prior to this one over there. And those are, worth listening to. Many of them have guests, and we do like 30 minutes of a guest session. Today we don't have a guest, but often we do. And those sessions also tend to be quite educational and inspirational. These are the call-in instructions. I will put these up when we are ready for call-ins. We are going to do a couple of slide presentations with entrepreneurs first, and then I would like to spend a lot of time actually chatting with you. Maybe you guys have seen I've been engaging a lot more on Quora lately. We'll do some Quora questions, top Quora questions that I've answered as well. I spend maybe about 20 to 30 minutes every day, every other day on Quora answering questions these days. So it also gives me a good perspective of, talking to people, understanding what kinds of questions are on their minds, what are they struggling with, and so forth. And it's just another way for me to kind of get the pulse of what kinds of concerns you're facing and so forth. So these are obviously once a week, but also I just wanted to offer to you that that's another way you could also engage with me if you like. Now, Oracle members, today is your deadline for applications, the Oracle 1M1M Challenge. I know we've already received a lot of applications, but basically midnight today is the cutoff for you to sign up for this challenge, and we will be judging over the next week and finishing up that process and announcing the finalists next week, or the winners next week, actually. Before we start the entrepreneur pitch session, I want to set some expectations. We are on your side. We are here because we are on your side. We want you to succeed. We know you're doing your best, and we want you to continue doing your best. And our role here is to accelerate that process, especially if you haven't done this before or haven't done it successfully before, perhaps. You've tried it before, it hasn't worked. There are best practices, and we have brought together the knowledge of a lot of successful people in this forum, and we may know how to do certain things better, and we would like to give you those insights so that you can accelerate your process, and very importantly, so that you can avoid, easily avoidable, commonly made mistakes. All businesses, even with many that have a lot of challenges at the beginning, have the potential to succeed. In fact, I would go so far as to say every business, however successful it becomes later on, has a lot of challenges in the beginning. And the challenges vary. The challenges can be of various different kinds, but you have to basically mitigate those challenges, in some cases course correct if you're going down the wrong path. And that's kind of our intent, is to give you ammunition with which you can make those decisions. If you have to pivot, you can make those decisions. If you have to change positioning, you can make those decisions, and so on and so forth. It is very possible that you might disagree with my feedback today. Don't feel bad about it, and don't be defensive about it either. The point of this session is for me to give you my honest feedback. And whether you take it or not is up to you. What I encourage you to do is think about it. You know, every session is available in recording. So if, you know, conversations can get intense. In the last session, actually, we had quite an intense kind of somewhat conflict-oriented session. There was a lot of back and forth. But at the end of the session, I said the same thing that I want to tell you now, is that conflict is good for growth. If you get feedback that doesn't necessarily gel with what your thought process is, stop and consider that feedback. It's worth considering. If you have already considered it and resolved that point of view, that's fine. If you haven't, then do think about it. Not all businesses can raise money. This is a topic that comes up all the time. It will come up again today. And raising money doesn't guarantee success. Also, not all businesses should raise money. There are certain businesses that should be with, you know, relatively smaller niche opportunities, should be built as bootstrap businesses. If you go try to raise money, you waste your time, you waste other people's times. And if some idiot invests in a business that should not be raising venture capital, it actually creates more trouble. It can set you up for failure. But just like they're inexperienced entrepreneurs, beware of the fact that there are also inexperienced investors. So you have to be careful and wary of those. We are here to work on your business. This is a working session. So our whole sole purpose here is to help you make a little bit of progress. And hopefully, if you decide to join the program, then a lot of progress over the next year that we would be working with you. Doing something worthwhile is very hard. In the beginning especially, it's very hard. We are aware of that. We have a tremendous amount of empathy for the journey that you are taking. This is our journey as well. We are entrepreneurs. We are building a business, a small business here with you. 1 Million by 1 Million is not a nonprofit. It's not a foundation, and it's not a venture fund. It is a startup just like you. So, you know, we understand. We understand what you're going through. And if you're not pitching, please participate in the public chat, ask questions, you know, offer your point of view, offer your suggestions, engage. And after the pitches, we will actually have plenty of time for free, you know, rapid-fire Q&A. Asking good questions is how you learn, you know, it's an art. And the more you engage in that, the more you're going to learn. All right, let's get to work. Raghu, you're up first. If you could unmute your line and tell us what Cloud.io is, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. So Cloud.io is a new startup that we started like 2 months back. So we build products on cloud. So that's what cloud stands for. And IO is basically input and output. So I would like.
And where are you dialing from, Raghu?
So we are dialing from Bangalore, India.
All right. So you're in the middle of the Diwali holiday. Happy holiday. Happy Diwali.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.
All right.
Yes. So our first product is called the Third Eye. So Third Eye is basically, okay, do you want me to go about myself?
Whatever you want to do. I just saw one thing and
okay.
you said
then I will continue the status over here. So our product is called Third Eye. So I will just momentarily explain you what Third Eye is. So before I go to Third Eye, let me tell you about it. So my name is Raghu Venkatesh and I'm a dreamer. And I come from a lot of background. So I've been working towards technology and innovation for a very long time. and I love to exploit technology to make good to the nature or to the society. And I've done a couple of good stuff in the past. And you can check on my LinkedIn profile to know more what I do. And let me go to the next. So before I go to value proposition, I will go to the next slide and come back. Yes, I'll come back to the other two slides. This one, this one. Okay. So third eye is the next generation. Hello.
This slide,
yes,
this is the slide that you want?
Yes, this is the slide I want. So I will just read out what's written over there and then explain you the whole thing again. So third eye is the next generation Neuro VR headset. So we are a company which is building a virtual reality headset. But beautiful part of it that we are basically integrating a new user experience called as neuroscience, where the whole environment is controlled through your thoughts. So imagine all these days we had keyboard, mouse. So how long did it take you to adopt to learn a keyboard or a mouse? So what comes after keyboard? Then the touch generation came in, where people used to touch and understand what it is. So we are building something which comes after touch, just basically your thoughts. So a device, it's a wearable device, it's a wearable computer. So when you basically wear this device, you do not need to use anymore your hands or gestures or anything. It just works through thoughts. So right now we are in a proof of concept, and we're using quite deep learning and artificial intelligence to understand how your brain works. And we don't come from a neuroscience background, but still using logic thinking, we are able to achieve great stuff which the world is trying to achieve in the last 60 years. So I will just go back to these two slides. So the first market we want to hit is the gaming market. It might sound why gaming, because there are a lot of other things where healthcare, education, other things. So we see that gaming market is the most early adopters, and we are quite new to this space, and we have not done quite intense research because the technology what we are building is completely a groundbreaking technology. So it's like if I tell you, imagine if you're in 1980s, and if I show you a personal computer and say that, see, this is what I'm building. So it would basically start saying that it's just a box, you don't know what to do it. So we are in the same position today. So what we're building is like reinventing technology. So we are building technology, not a platform, not an app. So first early adopters is gaming, because gamers are the most exploiters. And when you try to build something for gaming, people try to always use their smartness or intelligence to come out with something. If you have played games, you'll see always there is endless limitation when you play games. So we want to start with gaming, and gamers are the more very good in case studies, because there's huge line of gaming segments. And why gaming is because if you look at any other thing, if you look at an app or something, it is more graphical, but in game. The next slide, please. Yes. No, not this one. This slide. Strategy canvas. Yeah, strategy canvas. Why gaming is because gaming is the most immense platform. And second thing is that till today, every technology we had, that when UI computers came in, we had graphics. That is basically the graphics graph. You can look at it. Then games started coming in, where people started enabling more and more hardware in over time. Then intuitiveness came in, where you would basically interact not only just game. For example, I can use Second Life. So then later mobility came in. Then next is immersive gaming. So we see virtual reality is the most immersive gaming. Today I might keep repeating virtual reality, but if you experience virtual reality, you will really understand what I'm talking about. It is something completely different shift from using a PC or a mobility device. So I will just go to the next slide. The next slide, please.
Are you not looking for the slide that talks about?
Yes, over here I've just spoken about it, and I forgot what is the prototype. Yes, this side, the vision of third eye. So we have something called as the Wish Genie. So Wish Genie is here to fulfill your dreams. So basically, in a platform, Wish Genie enables you to dream consciously. For example, it might sound quite futuristic or a sci-fi movie. So basically, we could enable people to dream consciously and collaborate. So today we are running experiments where you can control environment, but one day we will be there where you can create your own environment by just thinking. What I can give you another example is like an Inception movie. And second thing is that over here, you take care of you control the technology, but the technology doesn't control you. But today, nowadays, you see every device, we are basically controlled by the phone or addict or anything. But over here, we are trying to enable where you control the technology. So that is one of our vision. And third is to create reality where we are calling something called as ARI as an added reality interface. What if it could, what if, for example, imagine a matrix world. So that is one of the things we are trying to achieve where people can learn simulation, exploration. What if people want to explore Mars or deep diving, and even people who are paralyzed in the healthcare industry can use our device. And this is our big vision in the next 6-7 years to achieve. I will go to the next slide. Yes, we did a case study in a Tech Spark event, and we are the Tech 30 companies in India to which to look out in the next 1 year. And we did a very small experiment was that we wanted to understand how long does people take to adopt our technology. So we did 116 use cases. People took 3 minutes and 5 seconds to get into the technology completely. And people spent more than 15 minutes. That's the reason we have 116 in a 3-day event, because it was very hard to people to tell that somebody else is waiting out to experiment on this product. So over here, what was the whole intention was that we had created a small area where you would go in a simulation. It would basically de-stress you. If you're stressed out, it would de-stress you. So within 3 minutes, people were happy, and we had 40.5% increase in de-stressing. So we had built a small experiment where you could get de-stressed within less than 3 minutes. But we did 3 minutes, 40 seconds. So I will go to the next case study. If you click on this, it's a video you can watch about it where people have given us feedback on what they experienced using Third Eye. So why should we be a part of 1 million by 1 million is because we are creating a new dimension called as a third dimension to the internet, where today internet is basically a two-dimensional internet. Example, the way we are talking to each other is a two-dimensional thing because you're looking at a screen. What if I could offer you a technology where we could literally feel that we're sitting in front of each other, but not only look at us, but also look at our body language and understand. So it will be more conversing topics. And second thing is that products versus innovation is that most startups or most people are behind building products, but we are trying to innovate something, and something which is going to be a game changer. Every product which has been built right now is basically an app or an e-commerce or something, but we're trying to build an innovation. So third thing is that what next is that we had personal computers, then the laptops came in, then the touch devices, then the gesture devices. So we believe that Third Eye is the next innovation in the world. So that's why we're saying why we are part of 1 million by 1 million. Next slide, please.
So I have questions on this slide, Raghu. When you say you're building a technology, are you building, what stage are you in with the technology? Have you built something that starts to show what you're talking about?
Yes, we have built something which basically shows, which basically proves. We have built a proof of concept on the software end, but we are right now we've used consumer products. We basically exploited and ripped few parts and built a prototype also. But we intend to build our own prototype because we have limited access to state-of-the-art labs to build our own devices. So that's where we are trying to ask people, can you help us out to scale?
And what application, based on what you've built so far, what market segment can use the technology that you've built today in a compelling use case? Like, can you solve anybody's problem of all these different possibilities that you're considering where you would like to add value and enhance the experience? Is there any in that spectrum that you can add value to today as you stand with the technology that you've built?
Yes, the one thing is education, entertainment, healthcare. So these are the three things we are focusing on. So in healthcare, I can give an example.
Those are too many.
Okay, so we are starting with healthcare.
Okay. So tell me more about what is the healthcare use case? What problem within healthcare is your technology capable of solving as of now? I'm sure it will be enhanced tremendously as you have access to more resources, labs, etc. But based on the software solution that you've created today, what healthcare use case can you address? What problem in healthcare can you solve?
So today, one thing is that the doctors can understand their patients when they're doing a therapy. So that is one problem.
That's a very vague answer. I'm a computer scientist. You have to help me. You have to talk my language and be much more precise.
Okay. So basically, doctors can teach their students about creating a virtual simulation of operations, because that's one of the hard things where a student takes a lot of time to get over there, where they can start practicing. It can be serious surgical. And for example, when you have very, what do you say, for example, very rare case scenario where the possibility of surviving is less than 1%, you can do a simulation, understand the scenarios, what is the outcome it would come. It would do. So that is one case.
What do you do there? Are you recording an actual live operation? Are you, staging a live operation, some sort of a simulation with animation? What is happening? What are you doing?
So we can do a simulation over here.
What do you need? What inputs do you need to do that simulation?
Okay, so we do need we need basic information about the patient, and the second thing is that we have a physics engine which is so powerful enough to restructure anything when you define objects. Right now we say it as an object, but when you try to define anything, you can create anything out of the software.
It's not so now maybe you're not going to be able to answer all these questions right away, but please mark the questions and try to answer them later. Give it thought and try to answer these questions. What I would like to have you present this pitch is not a great pitch. So what I'm trying to do is extract your nuggets and your, the diamond in the rough from your pitch and show you how you can actually pitch this better. So first and foremost, I wouldn't say that you're building a technology and not a product. The way to present this is you're building a technology platform, and then the first application of that technology platform is in healthcare, especially in medical school education. That's what it sounds like to me. And then I would go on to explain exactly how you are assisting in simulating a surgery, perhaps, for doctors, professors, teaching doctors to teach their medical students how to perform such a surgery. And, what I don't understand here is what's the virtual reality element, what's the, what do you need in terms of parameters, what do you need in terms of, what are you doing in terms of visualization? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that kind of need to be made visceral in your presentation so that somebody who's listening to this can understand. And then you have to get into issues like, okay, if healthcare training, first and foremost, you have to establish that this kind of virtual reality aided medical education is desirable for the audience that you're looking at. So you need to go talk to medical schools and get their validation, show them something that they, at least some sort of a mock-up of exactly what this is going to look like in their environment, get their buy-in. That's your validation. Understand what are they going to pay for it? How valuable is this to them, and what are they willing to pay for it? So then, this is how you build the presentation. This is how, based on what you are trying to present here, I think the pitch is a bit convoluted.
Yes, so what is the value we are presenting to doctors is that you don't need to operate a patient. Basically, we have sensors which can read the patient's data and give it to a doctor. So where doctor can understand his patient and improvise his treatment. So that's what we're trying to achieve.
Understood, but you're going to have to, what is the virtual reality element of that? What parameters translate into what kind of a virtual reality experience? You have to figure out some way to mock it up and explain that. so that people, I mean, don't assume that people know people are swimming. You may be swimming in virtual reality environments. These doctors and students are not going to, and administrators of medical schools are not swimming in virtual reality environments, especially if you're talking about India. There aren't that many virtual reality environments there at all, right?
Yes, but
so when you're talking about go ahead.
Yeah, so this is only one case. It doesn't fit the whole ecosystem of healthcare, but only at only understanding the patient where you can see at therapy. That's the reason I told you therapy is a big thing, and we understood this when we spoke to a couple of doctors in around who are from the UK, and they told where you can fit this technology is that one place where you can use therapy. Therapy is a big thing. Even in the US, it's a very big market. What if you could no need to visit a doctor, just wear the virtual device, and the whole system treats you. You can,
yeah,
if
again,
you look at the video,
if you look at that use case, you have to be a lot more graphic and visceral about exactly how that scenario is going to look like. You may need to do a role play or some sort of a mock-up of exactly how your technology applies to that situation, because it is not at all clear to me how you're going to apply virtual reality to therapy. Unless you explain what you're thinking and what this experience, how this experience is today, the before, and with your technology, what is the after going to be, how much more powerful, and what specifically, what is that experience if you don't present that vision. So right now, it is not your question you're asking, why do people lack vision for hardware products? No, people don't lack vision for hardware products. You are doing a lousy job of presenting what your vision is. If you do a good job of presenting your vision, people will buy into it. Then the other thing is, you're saying people don't believe in moonshot ideas. I don't think that's true either. You're asking how to align people to a long-term vision, longer vision for a product, say 5 years and above. Nowadays, most companies look at 9 to 16-month vision period. No, they are looking for how you're going to, what is the process of these 5 years? If you're going to say that we're going to stay in the lab for 5 years and just do R&D, no one's going to touch your project with a 10-foot pole, because that's not how startup funding works. If you want to do that, you should go join maybe IIT, whichever IIT you're close to or whichever IIT you can get into, get a postdoc position and do research for 5 years. No one's going to contest that, so you'll probably get some grants and so forth and get a PhD out of it, something like that, or you can come to the US and do that at some school. But if you want to be in the private sector as a for-profit business, then you have to follow the rules of a private sector for-profit business. And that means that you're going to have to spend a year and show the milestones of what you're going to accomplish in that year. So you're going to have to say, okay, I'm going to solve, first and foremost, I'm building a technology platform, and that's fine. I'm going to solve the problem of, this is how I'm going to do maybe medical school education, maybe therapy. One of those use cases, I'm going to crack this. I'm going to get like 200 customers or 100 customers in that space. This is what they're going to pay for it, and this is the business I'm going to build for the next 18 months, next 24 months. And then maybe in the third year, we're going to go to a different use case and expand to a different use case, and that's going to open up another 300 customers, etc. This is how you explain how you build a business. If you cannot make this business case, then nobody who's a business person is going to invest in you. Does that make sense?
Thank you. It makes sense. You're trying to help us relook at things.
Yeah, I'm just, see, part of the magic of startups is how you communicate your vision. I have done, very far-reaching stuff, but the reason I got to do those things is because I was able to communicate what I'm trying to do. And you have to learn that style of communication, that method of communication, and it's not rocket science. I can tell you, I know how to teach you how to do that. This is what we do day in and day out in 1 million by 1 million. We are constantly working on helping people understand how to build their business, defining strategy, and then figuring out how to communicate that strategy to decision makers who are going to help them, move that journey forward. That's what we do. And then, once you're figured out what that strategy is, once you've figured out what that communication mode is, then how do you execute on that strategy? This is what we do. So I know I can teach you. This is not you. If you're working with virtual reality technology and you're, you have enough intellectual horsepower, but it's a specialized discipline, and you're going to need to learn that discipline. That's the trick.
Okay, that's exactly what we are trying to do with 1 million by 1 million, because it's very hard to run around selling and innovating, because the mindset is very hard to change, because when you're innovating something, you're totally focused on it, and the next moment you have to go sell your product. It's really hard right now. So can you give us any tips regarding that?
It's very hard, but that's exactly what we do. Every single entrepreneur in our program is building something new and figuring out how to sell it from multiple points of view. Some people are selling it only to customers, some people are selling it to investors and customers. And also don't forget the other aspect of selling to people who are going to come on your team, right? You have to be able to communicate what is it that you're doing to people who are potential employees, prospective employees, because that's another sales job that you're going to have to do to get people to come around the project and start building what you want to build. So it's a sales job across the board. Selling vision is something that you have to learn, and yes, we can teach you how to do that in 1 million by 1 million.
Okay, that's where we want to be there.
Okay. Well, I will talk about how to use the program a bit later, so hang on, and let me work with Viral, and then we'll come back to this topic.
So this is our team.
Okay.
So we have 5 of us right now, and we have 3 other people who are helping us out.
5 people in Bangalore, excellent. So good. All right, Raghu, we'll talk more in a bit about how you can use the program. So just hang on while we switch the microphone to Viral. Viral, if you could unmute your line and take over the presentation, that would be great.
Oh, thank you very much. Actually.
Hello, everyone. Viral here. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So can we move to the next slide? So I represent eBazaar. We'll get into in terms of what we are trying to do. We can move forward.
And Viral, where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Mumbai.
Okay.
Great. This is not needed. Yeah. So that's me. So at eBazaar, we are trying to make it convenient for the customer to shop groceries from their own trusted nearby supermarket by unifying the supermarkets onto a single platform, which is, of course, eBazaar. So that's the brief value proposition. Next slide, please. We'll explain in terms of what we are trying to do in adding convenience. So what we believe is that trust and quality are very important factors when customers have to buy groceries. And the trusted nearby supermarkets have been offering this for ages. They have tons of experience, and the customers value the trust because they have been buying from them for ages. But as the demand on time increases, as they start working, as the technology comes, they would start valuing convenience, and that's where a physical visit to the store doesn't offer that convenience. So in the process, the store misses out, and in the process, customers at time, they do buy online, but it's not always that they get the same trust and quality as they can get when they used to visit a supermarket. So that's where we feel there is a lack of convenience for the customer. We can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so the solution is we're trying to unify the supermarkets into a single platform, which is eBazaar. In this quadrant, the right side is what we offer. We offer the convenience part in terms of uniform shopping experience, in terms of discovery of products that your supermarkets has, discovery in terms of the catalog that he holds, as well as the price at which that is available. And this results in a happy customer because he's able to shop 24/7 from wherever, whenever he is. And it also results in increased sales for the customers. So that's our solution in brief. We can go to the next slide. So this is a bit on our target customer. We believe our target customer is an educated lot working, 22 to 45 years, who is reasonably online, who values convenience. with the assumption that if given an option, customer would want to always buy from a supermarket because of there is a lot of trust associated with them.
So there is one vital piece of information missing from this slide. What is it?
Yeah.
Everybody, audience, what is the missing piece of information here? Anybody in the audience wants to take a crack at what's missing? What is the question that comes to your mind when you're looking at this slide?
Man or woman? You're saying man or woman?
Yes.
No, okay. So, that's been deliberately missing, and I'm aware why it's missing. So the idea is in India, at least what I've seen around, including my own household, right? So the key influencer is women, but at times men also are given a list and they are supposed to be buying. So if that be the case, for me, at times you can say it's a joint effort, and at other times it's men alone who also buys, and while at others the woman also buys. Like, so it depends, and hence I don't so hard differentiate. Yeah, the key influencer is going to be woman, and I'm aware of that.
No, I think what you said actually is not correct. The woman.
Okay.
If in most cases, except in with some exceptions in India, the woman draws up the list and gives it to the man to go and buy, perhaps, or she buys herself. If it's a anyway, so I think that's the workflow. In that case, if you are going to be doing the buying, the man is not going to be in the loop at all.
Okay.
So the man actually does not spend any cycles thinking about this in most cases, unless it's a specific psychographic where the man also cooks, which there may be a smaller segment, but the much larger segment in India at least is the woman does. No, and even if they have a cook at home, it's a woman who's deciding on the menu what's going to be cooked, what is going to be, therefore what is going to be purchased. So your sole target customer is the woman.
Fair enough. Point well taken. So I totally agree. In terms of decision makers, yeah, it's the woman. Yeah. So on the customer acquisition, now here onward it will get interesting, and I'll need a lot of inputs. So we are experimenting with customer acquisition. We are yet to figure out the right strategy that works for us. Two early things that has worked so far in terms of the handful customers we have acquired. Whenever we speak with them, it has been Google AdWords and email marketing that has worked best for us, but still not at the pace at which we would like to acquire them.
What about Facebook? Everybody and their mother in India seems to be on Facebook.
Yeah, but I think advertising wise, it's okay to create awareness to an extent, but the hard clicks doesn't come from Facebook. Like it comes from Google. So when people search on Google, they're searching with the intent of buying.
Let's just stay with that for a second. I agree with you, but the thing that works on Facebook is content marketing, not advertising. What works is content marketing. So
yeah, I think I can do with a bit more tips on that.
Yeah. So test content marketing, and maybe you talk about certain specific vegetables or fruits that are in the market today that's particularly good, and create some sort of a magic around the concept of what they're buying, or this fish is great in this grocery store and we saw such and such, and you take pictures and make it a very kind of beautiful user experience, and people start sharing, that's going to go viral on Facebook.
Fair enough. I'll keep that in mind. Also perhaps towards the end, if we can again circle back to it, and I can ask a bit more questions on that.
Sure.
So it has been difficult. Let's continue with the previous slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I was saying, it has been difficult for us to get a good subscription list for email marketing going. We are speaking to some consumer-oriented businesses for some alliances. Now, I'm not too sure whether it works, but some of my fellow startups have suggested that it has worked for them. When I say alliance, it's like, say, making promotions or offers to, say, credit card subscribers, or sort of doing something with salons and where women frequent regularly for whatever their beauty treatments and all that. So we are trying to see if those kind of alliances will work.
My sense is I would go direct and I would go content marketing on Facebook. You could even do recipes. You know, you could do like a content marketing around recipes and you know, every day you have a recipe and then you show some of the specific, you know, seasonal stuff that is in the market, whether it's mangoes in season or, you know, some fish, special fish or whatever, but make it that way. I think this is actually much easier to market that way.
Okay, so recipes have got a lot of awareness. Like whenever we share recipes, the post definitely has a high reach, but it's still not converting into sales on that day. Like so you are totally right. Whenever we have shared recipes, it's sort of the amount of reach or the engagement definitely improves. But when it has to convert to sales, that's not happening. So perhaps how do we convert that piece to sales is somewhere I think we are still missing the link over there.
Do you have a call to action on the recipe?
Sorry?
Do you have a call to action on the recipe?
No, as of now, we just say that you can buy all or most of the stuff from our platform. That is what we typically say that what you can do.
Do you bring them onto your site?
We give a link along with the recipe saying that here is it from where you can buy most of the recipes from. But the clicks
what I'm saying is the entire recipe visible on Facebook or in what you're doing on Facebook, or do they have to click to get the recipe?
You have to click.
So they are coming to your site and they are coming to your site?
Okay. So, no, they're not coming to our site. So far, we have been sharing recipes of some famous blogs because I thought that was easy, and these are trusted recipe blogs where the good recipes are available. So we wanted to have good connect with the customer from the point of view that whatever we are sharing is good and liked by others also. So we discover some recipe blogs, and say twice or thrice in a week, we share some different kinds of recipes. So when they click, if they have to see the recipe, it will go to some other website, and if they have to buy, there is a link to my website from where they can buy. So
that's not going to work. You need to bring them onto your site. You have to bring them onto your site so that they'll reach something on your site, and then there are other, you know, the site is designed such that they are, you know, attracted to click on other things. That's what drives conversion. If you send them to other people's site, they're not encountering your site. So how are they going to convert?
Okay. Point taken. I'll try to see in terms of how do we modify the workflow such that it comes to our site. One thing we have been wary about was that if we publish the recipe on our website, I'm sure we'll need to take their permissions to publish those on our website, and we'll need to work out a few things with a few blogs in terms of how we can publish their recipes on our website. My idea was that if a good
I don't think they will mind because all bloggers want their content to be propagated elsewhere. As long as you give them acknowledgement, as long as you give them links back
full credit.
Yeah, full credit, they will have no problems with it. Okay, I'm going to move on to something else that I see on this slide here. 15 cities, 2 cities.
Correct.
No. You first make this work in one city. It's hard enough to make it work in one city. You'll see it's going to be incredibly hard to make it work in one city. You don't complicate matters. The complexity of going from one city to 2 cities, you'll see going from one neighborhood to a second neighborhood is going to be so complicated. You don't want to do multiple cities right away.
Yeah, fair enough. So this is another point we learned last month, where I had been to a pitching event and got a chance to speak to a few investor-stroke mentors, and they suggested this. Now, I think we are already live in 2, but I have noted this point, and we are not further expanding till the time we get model right and the traction going right.
I would not go live in 2 cities at all.
So do you suggest we shut down one city? Well,
yeah, shut down one city. Shut down one city and focus on one city and do it fully right.
Okay, I think we may end up with a problem of how do we address the supermarkets we have already onboarded. They are going to feel really bad about if we shut down the one city, like as in with great difficulty we marketed them and got them on board.
How many supermarkets?
There are in the second city, these 3 supermarkets are giving me a coverage of almost 90% of the residential target market we are covering in the city. So these are really good supermarkets.
Which city is that?
Surat. Apart from Bombay, there is Surat.
Then maybe start in Surat. Start in Surat.
Okay. Yeah, so that is something I can still look at, rather not focus too much in Bombay and get Surat going for us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you have 90% coverage, the word of mouth is going to go very quickly. You have probably better adoption there. And I think it's a smaller city, the territory is going to be easier to manage and everything.
Yeah. Fair enough. So on the competition now, so where we think we're different from competition is we are building a very light operating, low cost operating model. So we don't have procurement pains like some of our competitors have. They typically procure and deliver. For us, the stocks are already available at the supermarket, so the delivery is much easier. Secondly, we are not overcommitting on the delivery timelines just yet, because the feedback we gather from the market is that the people who offer 90 minutes and 2-hour delivery, more often than not, they end up over-committing and under-delivering. Right. Yeah, not delivering within the timeline. So we wanted to get the model right. We can crunch the timeline, but we wanted to get some traction and something going right.
You know something? I would not even worry about these 2-hour, 90-minute kind of delivery. You're doing grocery shopping. People generally have a rhythm of grocery shopping. So as long as people place their orders the night before, by let's say a cutoff of 6 p.m. or 9 p.m., whatever you think is convenient, you commit to delivering by, let's say, 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. the following morning. I think that's how grocery shopping happens, and that's how people's households are run. There's no need to deliver in 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's what my sense is also, and hence I've not been in rush to copy competition blindly by going down that route as of now. The other part is since we do not own warehouses, do not stock things, we don't have to invest very heavily either in capital or in logistics.
So you basically have a whole kind of low-cost workforce that is going to take the orders, buy the product, produce, and deliver to the household. That's it. There's no storage involved.
Yeah. So I think that's the key business differentiator. On the other models that's there in the market, again, they stock and have huge inventory. So the kind of big basket, local banya, Zop now, Nature's Basket, they have big warehouses, and again, it's high on cost. We are low on cost. They have their own huge logistics, whereas the supermarkets also have their delivery boys. So we feel in the same ecosystem, 2 costs cannot subsist over a longer period of time, and 1 cost will go out because market needs to be efficient. And hence, we believe that the fact what we're trying to develop, that supermarket can themselves better deliver to the customers, is the right way to go, because they already have delivery boys and staff, and the local delivery boys knows the areas also really well. So there is no need to duplicate all that effort. So that's how we differentiate from the competition.
So you are not even using your own delivery personnel, you're using supermarket delivery personnel?
Yes.
I see.
Because there is no need to duplicate, right? Because these guys have their own delivery boys anyways. So why do I duplicate?
So you are just taking orders and giving the orders, handing the orders over to the supermarkets, basically.
Yes, but it's also product cataloging and ensuring that the product cataloging and the discovery of the products available in the supermarkets is right. So today, when the customer enters the area and picks up a supermarket, we have proper algorithms which will show only the supermarket stock on the website, and it will not show the entire website or the entire set of products that's available on the website. And over a period, we do intend to build list also, because typically you will shop from 50 or 100 items for your more regular needs. So we intend to first show. Hello. You there?
Yeah,
sorry.
sure.
So we intend to show first your typical 50 or 100 items that you typically buy from, and then move on to the larger category-based cataloging and shopping. So our idea is more to sort of help people with the technology, the product cataloging, marketing part, and help supermarkets retain the customers who are already moving online now. So that's the role or the bridge that we are trying to build.
So that actually what I like about it is lightweight, kind of you don't have to build, you don't need huge amounts of funding and warehousing and all this stuff. I like that very much. The risk of all this is that at some point the supermarkets are going to wake up and decide that we can just do this ourselves. We don't need you guys to do it for them.
I agree with you, but the amount of supermarkets. So there are 14 million small and large shops around in India who are offline shops within the overall broader FMCG sector. So I think the market is still huge, and it's going to be that way. So not every supermarket can focus online as well as offline. So few supermarkets in the 2001, 2005, 2002 area, they've tried doing this, and they have not been very successful, because what they've understood is that the offline is their strength. They know how to procure, how to stock, how to sell. So their strength is offline. They rather not focus online, and that's how we also today work with supermarkets, saying that you continue your offline.
I don't disagree with you that you have a certain window of opportunity. And that's fine. So I think you can build a business in that window of opportunity for a while, and especially if you go to places like Surat, which are slightly off-center, and if you can get that level of coverage, if you get 90% of the population covered by the partnerships that you've made up front, that's a very good start, actually. So I would just start going, and this is a kind of business where you have you can get started and get going and bootstrap quite quickly. So.
Yeah. So before I come to the questions, can I quickly run you through the differentiators? I think most of it we have spoken. One or two is, so we curate each and every supermarket for the quality they bring. So it's not that all 10 stores in a lane we would want to onboard. So we have some parameters built already. We already spoke about inventory and zero investment in supply chain. No, the slide is not over here. I'm just talking through it. The another one is that there is a lot of collective know-how of the supermarkets, because most of them have been in business for anything between 15 to 50 years. So the entire sheer knowledge they have of their business is quite a lot, and over a period we become the central pool where all this knowledge is housed, and we help them pass from one to another and sort of leverage the whole channel much better. And the business is, of course, scalable by geography as well as other local related businesses. So those are the key differentiators. I just want
to. Now, we
haven't
talked about what is your business model. How much are you taking for this service?
We, as of now, we have been charging sales-linked commissions. So when I generate a sale, I get paid. If I don't generate a sale, they are not losing anything. So
how much are you?
To keep it simple.
What is the commission amount?
It's sub 5% right now. In most cases, I think net it's going to boil down to 2 to 2.5%, at least for the first year to 2 years, and gradually it should stabilize around 3.5 to 4% for this segment. Now the beauty is there are few more local related segments which offer relatively higher margins overall, and hence when I diversify into those segments, the overall margin can go to 6 to 7% over a 3 to 5 year window, gradually speaking.
So how big? Let's talk about this segment right now. For the next 5 years, you're probably not going to any other segment. You're going to do this segment. Unless you decide that you're going to do one city, multiple segments, that's your strategy, and not multi-city, single segment. That's a strategy. That's not impossible to do. But first, let's just focus on this segment, this one city. What do you think? So this one segment should give me a commission of 3.5 to 4% on an average in say 2 years to 2.5 years timeline, if we have a reasonably good traction going for us. So right now I'm not bucketing more than 2.5. In the next couple of years, let's assume that you're going to get 2% commission. I'm just being conservative, and we're using round numbers. 2% commission for the next 2 hours, next 2 years in Surat. How big a business are you building with that? What is going to be your revenue level with that assumption?
Fair enough. So only Surat, I had not done city-wise breakup as of now, but based on the assumptions I had, the kind of business I'm building is say about $15 million, $15 to $20 million in terms of revenue going through in 3 years' time, and in 1 year's time it should be about
$15 to $20 million.
$15 to $20 million of revenue, top line going through
top line sales. Okay.
Top line sales.
That's not your revenue.
That's not my
I'm
revenue.
asking for your commission.
My commission should be say about 2.5 to 3% of that, so it should come to less than $1 million.
Okay, that's okay. If you can get to thereabouts $1 million in a couple of years, that's perfectly fine. But I would focus on figuring the details of Surat out in the grocery segment and understand what are the unit economics of customer acquisitions, how much commission are you settling at, and so forth, and just work it out, in a very specific way. Local newspapers, maybe, I don't know what are the dynamics of Surat, but in Surat, go talk to the women in your target demographic and ask them, how do you find out about things that you adopt, services that you adopt? Like if I were to, if this service were to be available to you, where would you normally look for something like this? Would you look on Facebook? Would you look in Google? How do you, how does this service come to you? How do you encounter this service? Maybe PR. Maybe you just need to be written up about in the newspapers, on the magazines.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion. I'm yet to get my hands dirty by speaking to customers and sort of going on the ground meeting customers. That's not done as yet. What I know is that Surat as a town is very sleepy. They are not so much online when it's come to grocery shopping. All they read is some jokes and forwards, or look for some fashion-related shopping. So we are trying to slightly tweak our advertising strategy to see that we are looked up when they search for shopping of sarees or dresses or something. They also encounter us as a website in between. So that's what we are trying to tweak and see if that brings something. But yeah, I think I need to get on the ground and start talking.
That's true about all of India. Right now, India has not adopted online grocery shopping to that extent.
No, the largest cities they have, like if I have to talk about Bombay and Bangalore, or even NCR as a region, right? They have in a big way. So that's where Google and email marketing is getting us results. But when I try to adopt the same strategy in Surat, it is not yielding me the same results. And you are very right that it could change even a neighborhood to neighborhood. So city to city, the dynamics are going to be even much different. And that has been one learning when we went live in the second city, and we saw that that's not yielding the desired results to us.
That's right.
So yeah, so this were my questions to you. So comments on the value proposition and some ways to validate the proposition, because since we are not gaining traction, I have this thought whether the value proposition is right, whether how do I validate this out. So this
you need to go talk to your target segment. You need to talk to women. I already tweaked and tuned your segmentation somewhat. You were talking about men being influencers in this process. They're not. So you need to go talk to women of the of the age group and the psychographic, people who are relatively online savvy. Unless they're relatively online savvy, they're not going to order groceries online. So you need to go find those women and talk to them and figure out how they're, if you talk to a few hundred women in your target segment, you will learn a lot about how to market to them.
Okay, fair enough. I will jot it down as one of the quick actions if I can do in the next few weeks. And any other tricks you think from a customer acquisition side that we need to focus, and any general comments on competitive advantage? If you feel what we said and discussed makes sense, or are we sort of missing out something?
if you listen to this discussion, you will have answers to all these questions. I've given you lots of input actually already. Like we've talked about differentiating in terms of what city do you go to. If you go to Bombay, you're front and center competing with all these heavily funded delivery services, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's going to be impossible. That's going to be impossible even from a customer acquisition point of view, because they are bidding on the Google searches and they're going to outbid you every time. You won't be able to compete there. So that's another case why Surat is a much better choice than Bombay, where the market is underserved, but the customer acquisition strategy is also less clear. You need to figure that out. So what I like about what you're doing is kind of like this lightweight thing, where you're not making huge investments, so you can get things going. And the reason I resonate with this is, when I grew up in a joint family, we had 25 family members living in the same house. And my mother and my aunts, my grandmother, they used to have their shopping lists in the morning, and we had one guy who used to pick up their shopping lists, all of their shopping lists from all the women in the house, and go to the bazaar shop and bring back all the groceries in one go. So this kind of what you're talking about is a scaled up version of what was happening in my household when I was growing up.
I'm happy. I wish you start staying here and I get one more customer very quickly. Like, at least the name is also right. It said bazaar, right? I wanted that word specifically in my branding, and I think at least it also resonates in the branding side as well. Great.
Right,
I'll definitely re-listen to this. Yeah.
Try it out. Go talk to the women who are your customers in Surat. I would like input from the women of Surat to move this forward.
Fair enough. And lastly, I could see some comments on the chat. Now, how is this typically handled in the session? Are these comments available? Can I?
You can answer in the public chat here. So let me actually go through the comments. One comment is with funded Pepper Tap and Grofers, etc. How do you compete? We've gone over this. We've talked about going to a different city and not competing in Bombay. Sridhar Raj is also asking, suggest you take a page from Big Basket on the homepage UX design. That's a good suggestion, perhaps. I haven't looked at this site, but you should look at it.
Okay.
And then Sridhar is also saying supermarkets have cutoff limits, minimum order size, radius limits, non-perishable clauses, etc. How do you deal with that? That one you may want to answer right now.
Okay. So the minimum cutoff limits and all is actually not a problem. Today they also deliver something as less as $10 or rupees 500 to be sticking in the local currency language, and our cutoff limit is actually fairly low. It's only 250 rupees, so that's not at all a problem. So we have spoken to a lot of supermarkets, so the cutoff limit is not an issue. Radius, yes. So that's where we are onboarding multiple supermarkets and not a single supermarket. So each supermarket can cater to say about 2 kilometers to 5 kilometers in terms of geography. The smarter ones rather want to partner with us and extend their boundaries. So they are saying that a customer will not walk to my shop for more than half a kilometer, maximum 1.5 kilometers. So they are rather wanting to partner with us and say that let me extend my boundary to 3 or 5 kilometers, so that when a customer 3 kilometers away puts as the area, my name also pops up, and I get an opportunity to put my hand and say that I am going to supply grocery to your house. So radius-wise, I don't see that as an issue, and every 3-5 kilometers there are a lot of good supermarkets available. So we have already done our market research right up to 15 cities in terms of what are the supermarkets we would want to onboard, and the semi-curated list is already ready with us. So I am not concerned with that aspect. What was the other part of the comment? So I answered radius. Non-perishable. Okay. So non-perishable is again not an issue. What we have discussed with supermarkets is that when a guy goes to deliver, he asks the customer specifically to check the non-perishables first and ensure that if there is a return, the return is handled at the same instance if possible. The second part is the supermarkets are in a much better way to handle the non-perishables than the larger warehouses, because they typically buy fresh and sell fresh. They know the quantum very well, and they have walk-in customers also coming and picking up the goods anyway. So I do not see non-perishables again as an issue, and most of the supermarkets have not bought this up. The one issue is that some supermarkets do not stock the perishables, like fresh fruits and vegetables. Some do stock, some doesn't stock. So that way, we'll need to do a good market fitment and ensure that even for perishables, we have some or the other supplier in your local area who can supply the perishables to you.
You
so
have
that is
to
one
do
part,
perishables.
yeah, it's a challenge.
To do this business, you have to have perishable coverage, no question about it.
Yeah. And last one, anything else? I can see Sridhar asking the quality of service. Now that's very important. So what I think he's asking is about the fulfillment part. Now I'll like to give the analogy over here rather than a ready-made answer, because we are yet to evolve to a ready-made answer over here. But my analogy is more like say a McDonald's or a Subway, where it's not their people who are controlling the final outlet. The final outlet is controlled by the franchises, but they have developed a template in terms of the quality things that needs to be ensured, and we intend to develop a similar template that how the fulfillment will be managed, even if the logistics is managed by the supermarket himself. So my sense is that over a period with the right kind of team, if we are able to build on the logistics side, we can have this template going that these are the few bare minimum parameters that have to be always ensured when the fulfillment has to be done to a customer. And I don't think supermarkets are so close to that. Even today they are delivering. Tomorrow they'll deliver, but much consciously and in a much more standardized fashion is my answer to the quality of service question.
Well, you will also have to have a customer service number that people can call.
We have. Agreed. So customer service is owned by us. So customer service, customer acquisition, tech, and marketing are owned by us, and the rest of the parts are owned by other people. Yeah.
Sridhar says, thanks, Viral. Hope you go viral. Unintended. That's cute.
Thank you so much. I do hope so, and thanks for all those good wishes. Yeah. So I think I'm done with it, and thank you so much. Very insightful and good to discuss.
You're very, very welcome. All right, folks. If you like what we're doing here, our request to you is that please bring your friends. Bring other friends who are doing startups and are serious entrepreneurs who need help, and want to work with us. And this is why we're doing this, and we want serious entrepreneurs who are going to spend the years building companies. Everything in terms of resources is at 1mby1m.com. That's where your navigation of our services starts. You will find a very powerful blog with tons of information, inspiration, etc. over on the blog itself for free. You will find the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, of which we've published 12 volumes. It's available internationally from Amazon Kindle. The first 4 books are available also in paper book format on Amazon. And these are case study-based learning books, and you're going to double-click down on each topic and basically have a simulation of the experience of sitting down with 12 to 16 very successful entrepreneurs who are going to be sharing their journeys with you, and my analysis and commentary goes along with that on that topic. This is the format of the books. You know, we've had numerous entrepreneurs learning from these books, so I'm actually very happy in how people are using these books as well to accelerate their learning, to enhance their learning. So we know that these books also work well as learning tools. There's a ton of information on the website. Please dig around and see what questions you have, and we have videos, video FAQs, etc. You will be able to answer most of your questions online, is my guess. These free roundtables happen every week. Today is the 184th roundtable. We'll do one more roundtable next week, and then we'll have a little bit of a break, but then we still have a couple of roundtables in December, on the 10th and the 17th of December. But, you know, these are working sessions, as you can tell. I think we are getting stuff done. We're getting good engagement, and I hope you're it's the philosophy of these sessions is case study-based learning. Just in discussing the 2 case studies we did today, of course, the entrepreneurs who pitched learned, but I hope also that you who are listening are also learning from these exercises. And I enjoyed very much how, Sridhar, you've engaged with Viral, and it was, I think it's enhanced both of your learnings and mine and everybody else's in the room. So this is exactly how we want these sessions to move. Now, if you want to pitch or if you want to attend, you do need to register on the website or the Free Public Roundtables page so that we can send you join link and etc. Beyond that, we have a $1,000 annual membership fee premium program. And that's where you get the extensive methodology guidance. We have a great curriculum. So today, let's say you join after this session, the premium program, the most obvious thing you're going to do is start working on the curriculum. Whatever topic that you're dealing with, whether it's TAM or positioning or whatever issue you're dealing with, there are modules in the curriculum, and you go and start working on those. And next Wednesday, when we do our a private roundtable, you can come and discuss the issues that you're encountering. You can also ask questions within the curriculum modules, and I will answer. So there's there's a very kind of integrated flow between interactive learning and non-interactive learning. So this is interactive learning. We have private versions for the premium members of these kinds of roundtable learning, and then we have the asynchronous learning where we have both myself as well as other people who have been, there are 600 plus entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs whose input has gone into designing this curriculum. All that is woven into the curriculum, and that stuff is available to you for asynchronous learning. So it's working. We are using this methodology to teach for now 5 years almost. It's just close to 5 years now that we've been doing this, and we have trained a lot of entrepreneurs. And I can safely say at this point that if you decide to join the premium program and follow this methodology, you will move forward. We know how to move you forward. The $1 Million Club is a set of case studies we have published on the website. You can look at them. The value equation is our ROI analysis. So we provide $375,000 plus 5 to 10% equity worth of value for just $1,000 annual membership fee. So we have designed the program to be scalable, to be accessible, to be democratic. You don't have to move to Silicon Valley or anywhere else to access the program. You can access it from anywhere. You can access it from at any time. If you need to do the 1M1M program nights and weekends while you're holding on to your day job or you're raising a child, whatever be your responsibilities and obligations, you can still use 1M1M to build your business and follow our methodology. We are very, very flexible, and it's designed for scalability, designed for flexibility. That's what we have tried to do, and that's what I think we have achieved. Now, the 1M1M self-assessment is something that I want all of you to go through. You are an investor in your own business. Whether or not you have external investors, you are an investor in your own business. You are investing in valuable years of your life, in valuable career opportunities into this business. So you must make sure that you're doing things right and avoiding stupid mistakes. And what this does, the self-assessment does, is ask you questions. These are the questions investors would ask you normally, and here you are asking these questions of yourselves. Okay, so just look around on the website. I don't want to go through more of the website. You have it at your disposal. You can look at it. Once again, this program is not just taught by Shravana Mitra. There is a tremendous amount of input from successful entrepreneurs here that you have access to. Over 600, including over 50 entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar unicorns, over 350 who have built heavily venture-funded companies, high-value companies, and then there is a very strong representation and analysis of the methodologies of bootstrapped entrepreneurs, since bootstrapping is a very key piece of our methodology. We do believe even if at some point you raise money, you're going to have to bootstrap to validation and to some level of traction, because that's what the market is looking for these days. Your chances of getting funded, if you choose to go for funding, is much higher with this methodology than trying to take a concept and shop it around with investors. It doesn't work. And our philosophy is we want our entrepreneurs to go to investors as kings, not as beggars. This is my mantra, is that I don't want you to go begging for money and get refused all the time, rejected all the time. I've been there. I have raised quite a bit of venture capital in my career, but I've also been rejected a lot, like every serial entrepreneur on the planet. So we also do a lot of media work. So we have a lot of clout in the media. As you might know, we are kind of ubiquitous in social media and various kinds of syndicated columns and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of clout in the media, so we can get your message out through our channels and get it out significantly. Our social media channels are available to you, our premium members, to leverage to get your message out. Okay. Affiliate program, if you're working on an entrepreneurship development program anywhere in the world, we are happy to partner with you. We partner very well, very flexibly. And then we have a few more roundtables coming up still. November 19th, there's one more next week. 2 more roundtables in December. I am traveling. I'm going to be in Europe, actually Eastern Europe, for a few weeks. I'm going to be in London starting the 22nd, and I'm going to be in Hungary, in Budapest, in Vienna, and Prague. I will be back on December 9th, and December 10th we do have a roundtable here. So hopefully in one of these upcoming sessions you will come and choose to work with us, and I will look forward to doing that. Now, people who are still ideating, if you haven't settled on your idea, Vision India 2020 is my ideating book, and even though it uses India as the, either as a market or as the back-end production environment, these ideas apply to all emerging market dynamics, more or less. So you can definitely use this as an ideation vehicle. The 1M1M Incubator in a Box is our platform that we use with corporations, governments, and so forth to develop entrepreneurship programs. We run incubators on their behalf, and we have many partners in this area. A bunch of the later Entrepreneur Journeys book, $1 Billion Unicorns, is a very, very popular book these days. Carnival in the Cloud, Bootstrapping with a Paycheck, and From E-Commerce to Web 3.0. Bootstrapping using a paycheck is turning out to be an incredibly popular methodology of getting companies off the ground. So if you haven't checked this book out, and if that's a philosophy, that's a strategy that you're following, this would be a perfect companion piece for you. All right, we are ready for more Q&A with the audience. So please use the public chat to ask questions or dial in, and let's continue the conversation. So just to, break the ice, I'm going to ask all of you a question that I ask every time. How many of you are here in search of funding, and how many of you are here in search of learning? So if you're here for funding, put F in the public chat. If you're here for learning, put L. Anybody? Rohit Anand says L. Anybody else? L and F. Viral Thakkar says L and F. Okay. Sandy Kosh, L. Raghu Venkatesh, L. Ketan Singh, L. Very good. Well, I hope you are learning. Did you find the session so far productive from a learning point of view, those who are here for learning? So while you're thinking about questions that you want to discuss further, Maureen is supplying a question that I've answered on Quora, which has generated a lot of interest. Why is Peter Thiel not a fan of the lean startup minimum viable product movement? And my answer to that is there is something a little bit short-term about the lean startup movement. In my opinion, the weakest point of that methodology is the excessive emphasis on quick validation and pivot. It's like, that methodology constantly prompts you to pivot. And yes, I think pivot is an important part of building a startup and kind of experimenting and finding your product market fit and navigating through that, that whole journey. But I also believe that you must have some internal conviction about your market. You must understand something about the market or something about the market's needs and not pivot just like that. You must have some staying power to kind of let the market catch up with you. So, and now the way I operate, I have actually very long-ranging vision and very strong internal conviction about a market. So 1 million by 1 million, we've been in the market for 5 years now, and we have kind of stuck to our pricing strategy so far. And does that mean that we will never do anything else? We will. I'm sure we will. But at this point, we have built the business on a pricing strategy assumption, and we haven't changed to what most incubators and accelerators do, because I believe that this is the way we should be delivering our value to our entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs in the very early stages of their evolution should not be giving up huge amounts of equity, which all incubators and accelerators are forcing them to do. I don't believe in that. So that's just to give you an idea of, like, I have internal conviction, and those of you who operate in that mode and have long-term vision, you kind of need to give yourself some market and the market some runway to catch up with you and to catch up with your assumptions, your internal convictions. And I think my guess is the reason Peter Thiel doesn't like the lean startup principle as much is because great entrepreneurs tend to have that kind of market conviction, and they force the market to move their way by doing the things that are necessary to educate the market, as opposed to constantly pivot into whatever the hell works. So you have to work this fine line between pivoting rapidly versus, holding on to some of your core ideas and core vision. Of course, there is judgment required in determining when to pivot and when to stick to your guns. Viral is asking how to hire top-rate A-team going for you while bootstrapping. Really, if you paint a compelling vision for what you're trying to do, and you work in your network of people who have worked with you before, at least to begin with, the core teams of good, strong startup core teams generally come out of your network. The good, strong startup teams are usually not made up of strangers. These are people who have worked with you, and they will come together and maybe through referrals and so forth, maybe through introductions, friends of friends and so forth, but there is a core group of 4 or 5 people that will come together that will sign up because they believe in your vision, and that's the kind of team that you want. These are people who are not going to be shaky, and these are not mercenaries, these are missionaries. And the top core team is a team of missionaries, not mercenaries. And by the way, a top-rate team for a startup is not necessarily huge, heavy-duty resumes. A lot of times it's just good cultural fit, good character fit. Entrepreneurship is as much about character as it is about resume. In fact, as you know, there are tons of people who don't have heavy, big resumes who have been fantastic entrepreneurs. We have done story after story of entrepreneurs who have actually very modest resumes but have been very successful entrepreneurs. And these are not even Harvard dropouts or Stanford dropouts. These are people with very modest backgrounds but have the character, the resilience, the strength to build significant companies. And that is actually more effective when it comes to entrepreneurship than a lot of bookish knowledge. And there were, when I was in school, there were tons of people in my class who were very good academically, but there's no way they would make it as entrepreneurs. They just don't have the mettle to be entrepreneurs. They were very successful, they had great grades and everything, but they would never be successful as entrepreneurs. Ketan Singh is saying, I'm in India, but once I'm ready to start up and if I want to seed my thing remotely, say in some college in the US, how do I do that? What do you mean you want to seed something in a college in the US? Is your product for college students in the US? Is that your product? Is that your target market? Okay, you will do it online. Most marketing today is going to be online. So you're going to figure out what is the right online marketing strategy. We'll be happy to help you, shepherd you through that process, and that's fine. So Maureen is providing another question from Cora. Why do fund founders get fired? Let me answer the question, share the answer with you, and then we'll come to your next question, Ketan. So the top 3 reasons founders get fired, one is non-performance, right? If you have taken investor money as a founder and you're not delivering on the milestones, most likely you're going to get fired because, people are not going to let you just waste their money, right? And then there's also politics and personality. If you're a founder who has accepted to bring in a CEO, let's say, and then there's a lot of personality clashes, power struggles. I've gone through this myself. I hired a CEO for my second company. I raised the venture capital. I agreed with the board to bring in an experienced CEO. I was very young. And the first thing the CEO did was fire me because he was threatened by, it was my engineering team. I had hired everybody. I had delivered the product. I had delivered the first customers. So that I had tremendous credibility and respect from the engineers. And this guy just couldn't stand it. He was simply jealous, and he just couldn't stand it. So he fired me. And these kinds of things happen a lot in the startup business. And then the third thing is you have disagreement on strategy. If founders and boards, investors have disagreement on strategy, that is also a reason why people get fired. Any questions on any of those, by the way, are welcome. If you want to talk about lean startups, the question that I discussed earlier about pivots, or you want to talk about the founders getting fired, I'm happy to answer more questions. Viral is asking any rule of thumb for stocks to be shared with, say, your first 4 or 5 core team members. It really depends on the profile. There is no thumb rule. There really is no thumb rule. If it's 4 or 5 co-founders who have equal contribution to make, that's a very different scenario than if these are people you're hiring with cash. If you're paying cash, if you're not paying cash, this is like a very, very subjective issue. But, if you decide that you're going to be working within the 1 million by 1 million program, I'll, take your specifics and help you design your cap table. Okay. Anybody else? By the way, feel free to introduce yourself. There are a bunch of people that we haven't heard from today who are in the room. Tell us where you're joining from, what you're working on, what your challenges are, and what brings you to 1 million by 1 million. And while you're doing that, one introduction from our side, you may have already met her. Irina Patterson is our contact for you in terms of asking questions about the program. Her email is irina@1mby1m.com. and her phone number is 786-301-2456. Feel free to ask her questions. So we have time for maybe one more question. Since I don't see anything from you, I'll take Maureen's question from Cora again. What do the top 1% of salespeople, software SaaS sales, do that other 99% don't? And what I said about this question is, once upon a time, people used to believe that sales is a relationship game. So we used to, hire salespeople with great Rolodexes. I'm not saying that that is still not effective. Good Rolodexes are always effective in hiring salespeople. But in modern times, sales is a much more process-driven game. So you need self-discipline, you need rigor. It's a numbers game, really, And the top 1% not only have self-discipline and rigor, they have two other things going for them. One, they work for a company with a product that customers want. So if a great salespeople works on a company that doesn't have a good product market fit, they're not going to be able to turn in numbers. It doesn't work. Your product must work, must resonate with customers. You have to have good product market fit for salespeople to be able to sell it. And then the other thing is good process. A lot of sales organizations are terribly managed. So if you're a salesperson, a good salesperson, and you get stuck with a startup with a bad sales process, you're not going to be able to do your numbers because they won't do the right things for lead generation. They won't manage the process right for you to be effective and producing high-level numbers. Ketan is asking, I've noticed a pattern among most great entrepreneurs that they do their thing out of long-term vision and worry about the market and business aspect later. So what's your take on taking the target business and stuff like that seriously right from the get-go? You have to have a very good balance of the two if you really want to be a great entrepreneur. Because part of it is you're going to have to not run out of cash, whether it's your own cash or investor cash. You're going to have to not run out of cash. So nobody is going to give you 5 years to sit in the lab and do R&D. You're going to have to deliver on milestones, and typically those milestones tend to be some form of validation, some form of traction-related milestones, and you have to keep your eye on that. And depending on the business, those milestones will vary. At the same time, not lose sight of the big vision. And I'll just tell you my secrets in all this is that I don't like to put something on a venture timeline until I get validation at this point. I've done that before. I've concept financed companies. My third company was concept financed. I had enough credibility in the market at that point where investors just wanted to write checks and let me figure out what I wanted to do. So I came up with a concept, presented, give them an idea about what I was going to do, and they wrote me checks. But that is something that I will not do again. I'm not interested in any venture capital without figuring out whether the concept actually validates or not. And I can find a scalable way to build a business. So that's just, my trick of the trade. Viral is saying, thanks, it helps if we talk to referrals, strangers to us, to come now as a part of a core team. When base product is out, what should be #1 criteria to agree on vision, strategy, or dispute resolution mechanism? All of the above. You want to spend lots of time. For early team members, you really need to get comfortable with one another and really, really get alignment. Otherwise, the conflicts that will arise in a high-stress scenario, you're going to go into a pressure cooker scenario with these people. And if you don't have alignment, the stress is going to break you apart rapidly. Ketan is asking, how do I trust a small sample size during the validation stage, though? You will start hearing patterns. If you talk to enough people, you will start seeing the patterns of what people are saying, and it will become more than obvious just by talking to enough people, even in a small sample size. Statistically, you cannot have a tight enough confidence interval that your feedback with a particular sample will reflect similarly enough with the actual audience later. Well, there are ways of mitigating that, I think, I think there are ways of mitigating that. So folks, we are a bit out of time at this point. It's 9:34 a.m. I try to finish this call by 9:30, normally Pacific time, because it's already on the other side of the globe. It's very late. It's 11 p.m. in India. If you're in Singapore or Australia, you're you're fast asleep, I hope. But we do have members from all of those places. We have people coming from all of those places, and in the premium programs, we actually shift around the timeline of the roundtable so that we have roundtables that fit their time zones as well. You know, I would say personality fit is probably I would look for. Character fit, personality fit, so that you can communicate with these people on strategy meaningfully. You may not have full alignment of strategy because strategy is going to evolve. Vision is going to, maybe a high-level vision will stay consistent, but the strategy will evolve. What you want to establish is the ability to communicate and kick around strategic decisions. Does that answer your question, Viral? There we go. All right, so I would like to adjourn for today. Great conversations. This is the kind of roundtables I love to have, where everybody has questions, everybody brings their questions, and we have these powerful, you know, highly engaged discussions. So to be continued, and if you decide that you want to come to the premium program, join up, and we will continue intense conversations very soon in the premium roundtables as well. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.